What's up, guys? Happy Thursday night. Welcome to the Pre-Scout, and we are here to take a look at the 4 games in the NHL for Friday's slate. And of course, we have the NHL Global Series. So we have a 2 p.m. Eastern Friday game taking place in Sweden between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators. So you got to love that, guys. We're going to have hockey all day long, starting at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And also on Sunday, we're going to have an early game as well with Pittsburgh and Nashville. So a handful of games to get to, 4 games on tap in the NHL for Friday. We'll break it down. We'll take a look at some of these games, give you guys a few picks and hopefully some free winners as well. Guys, appreciate all of you that have been tuning in. All of you guys that especially hit that like button 2 days ago on the show, yesterday on the show. Let's try and keep those likes up, as it really does help spread the show around and help other people find this show. But I'll tell you what, last night we talked about Ottawa Senators team total over. We talked about looking at something to do with this Red Wings team. We looked at a couple different spots across the board. I felt like it was a pretty good but brief episode of the Pre-Scout last night, and that's what we are here to do. That's the goal, is whether or not we are giving out a ton of picks, whether or not I'm coming on here doing a half an hour stream or a 10-minute stream or a 2-hour stream. This is what it's all about, is looking ahead at the next day and trying to give you guys a few winners. So shout out to my guy Isaac, shout out to Timothy, shout out to James, shout out to Willow, shout out to our guy Leg Show. And of course, he brings up the Montreal Canadiens just getting slapped around, just getting absolutely slapped around. Outscored 12-1 in their last 2 games against the Kings and the Stars, losing 7-0 tonight. What a joke. What an absolutely horrible effort from the Montreal Canadiens. I hate to see it, guys, because all of you guys know that watching, you know I'm a fan of the team, and I wasted probably 2.5 hours of my life watching that one. Good news is they got off to a really good start to their season, so it's not as much of a problem. Willow says, had to pop in early and apologize for what my Stars did to your Habs, Andrew. Willow, you're not forgiven. You're not forgiven for that. Very, very embarrassing effort from the Canadiens. But I got to say this, guys. As much as I'm a Habs fan, the reality settling in is that I think starting on Tuesday when they played the Kings, 12 of their next 14 opponents are teams that were in the playoffs last year. So, and then the Bruins are in town on Saturday. They're really good right now. So it's not going to be easy. Looking at some of the hot events of the night here, guys. Looking at some of the stuff here. The Maple Leafs once again lose. They lost Saturday against the Bruins. They lost Sunday against the Hurricanes. They lost Tuesday against the Boston Bruins. And then they blow the lead tonight. They start the game up 2-0, and they end up losing that one 4-3 in overtime. If you are a Maple Leafs fan, you can't be happy even just about the point that you got, because they deserve to have the win. Timothy, great call by you. Let's fade him, he says. It was embarrassing. This Canadiens team does not do well against well-structured and deep teams. Oh, my bad. I thought you were saying about against the Habs on Tuesday. Yeah, that is tough. That is tough, but they closed it out because they weren't looking good at first. But then they ended up getting it together. So that was tough for about 60 minutes, and then they ended up pulling it out for you. So great pick there. And the Maple Leafs continue to slide. So a handful of straight losses for them. But my 2 client plays tonight, guys. We had the Ottawa Senators team total over 3.5. That was a nice price. And we also had the Red Wings team total over 3.5. So slowly but surely, I'm trusting my process. We're sticking to what we did last year, and we're protecting the bankrolls, giving out good prices. Forget about laying the juice on Red Wings money line. Forget about laying the juice on the Senators money line. We'll take those team totals, get the best prices we possibly can, and that will take us hopefully to a very successful season, and it helps you not have to have the highest win percentage, and you don't have to worry about juice as much if your average price is, minus 105 or plus 110, all that good stuff. Washington, they lose to Florida. Columbus, about to beat Edmonton for this. I guess I was going to say for the second time, but Edmonton didn't end up beating Columbus that night. Colorado up on Buffalo. Calgary up 1-0 on San Jose, and still scoreless in the two late games. So, guys, let's get right to it here. Pittsburgh and Nashville opened up as a pick. Current number -120. Totals at 6.5. Vancouver, Carolina opened up -250. Money has come in on Carolina. Now -260. Total at 6.5 in that one. Philadelphia, St. Louis, 5.5 being the total. Average price there is -140. And Utah hosting the New York Islanders. Not every book has a number out on this game, guys, but the average price I'm seeing here is -200 to -205. So what's up, Ethan? Good to have you here, man. I'll tell you what, guys, we might be switching to some of these shows being pre-recorded and just posted as videos, which is kind of sad. But some of these are still going to be live, and then I might start doing some live watch-alongs and stuff like that as well. But noticing a lot of the views are coming in overnight anyway, and it's tough because I'm not getting enough people interacting and tuning in live. So it's kind of tough, but you guys have all been so awesome. So it's tough, but we'll have to see what goes on over the next little while here. But we'll try and battle through it and keep building this thing. So, guys, with these global series games, I gotta say, I kind of treat them like long layoffs. And long layoffs, whether it be after Christmas break, whether it be after the All-Star break, whether it be after the Olympic break or the Four Nations break, you kind of treat it like that. You treat it as if it's been a huge delay. And IceX says Pens are on vacay. The Nashville Predators, guys, who will be the home team, by the way, in this game. So they're going to get the last change in this one. They are 1-8 in their last 9 games. 1-8 in their last 9 games. You look across the board right now at this Nashville Predators team, whether it's been good teams, bad teams, high-scoring teams, low-scoring teams, it's been really bad. Like IceX, Timothy, Ethan, it's not been good for this Nashville Predators team. But it kind of makes you think here, -121 here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Why is the price only so short? Why is the price only -120 on this one that's barely taken that much movement here? You know, I'll tell you what, I'm interested in playing Nashville in actually both games over there. But I'll tell you, what I wanted to say, though, is that if I don't end up getting to the window with Nashville, what we do see a lot in these global series games, and also what we do end up seeing in some of these games after long layoffs, is we really, really do end up seeing kind of sloppiness and fatigue. And, you know, these teams are going out for dinners, they're touring around, they're going out for drinks, and now you got to go back to work. You know, we don't think that these guys are working when we watch them play in the NHL, but they are. And now they're going to a different country, maybe a place that some of them have never been before, which definitely plays a factor a little bit. So a lot of times I do kind of expect sloppiness defensively, and I think that can lead to overs. So maybe a first period over could be in play. I think, guys, there's certainly a reason why 6.5 is the total. So I do kind of lean towards the over in this one. But maybe the second game could be the one to look at the over with. That game, of course, as I mentioned, will be on Sunday. But for what Pittsburgh has done this season here, guys, and I know it hasn't been as great for them lately as it was over the last little while. You know, they lost to the Devils, they lost to the Kings, they lost to the Leafs, they lost to the Jets, but they're still having a good season. I think ultimately when it comes down to it, this price is a little bit makes you shake your head. And I think when it comes down to it is, you know, they realize that this Pittsburgh Penguins team might be coming back down to earth. So maybe a little sprinkle on the Nashville Predators here, guys. And I kind of want to see what ends up happening in that game. And then we'll maybe base our opinion on that one into the next one. Steve, what are you rooting on? What are you rooting on here? You have Buffalo or +1.5. What is it that you have? Lake Show, bring Cam Stewart. Yeah, I'd love to do more stuff with Cam. He's awesome. He's awesome. It's just tough. I don't want to ask people to come on once a week, recurring spots. Like it's tough, like which is why like maybe this show ends up being just like 3 times a week or just pre-recorded videos or whatever it ends up being. But yeah, I like the over guys in that first game, but I'm kind of leaning towards Nashville as well. Because maybe the overlook is for the second game. Um, teams playing each other twice in a short period of time. It's always that rapid revenge, right? I mean, two teams that are going to be very familiar with each other, and they're going to have a chance to look at the film, to go back and study things. And just like that, they're going to be back at it once again. So, I think this series could very well be a 1-1 split. So I am kind of interested in playing the dog, at least in game one in this one. Vancouver and Carolina. Look, guys, this is just getting ridiculous. I've seen some prices at minus 265. But when it comes down to it here, this Canucks team, I saw an interview with Quinn Hughes, and it just looked like he wasn't even interested. It looked like he wasn't even interested. Like he looked like he didn't even want to talk to the media. I don't know. Quinn Hughes looked like he was disinterested. He wasn't happy to be talking to the media. He didn't have any answers for what's really going on. But one thing I want to say here, though, guys, is that this Canucks team has actually been playing against some really good teams lately. They've been in some difficult situations. So although we can sit here and rip on them and talk about how injuries are plaguing them, how their players don't look interested, how they're dealing with kind of some internal issues, it kind of looks to me like this team has been playing against some really tough opponents lately. And I look at this Rangers team, they've won 4 of their last 5 games. They're going to be excited. They're feeling pretty good right now. And I look at this Canucks team. They go on the road, and sometimes it's almost a good thing for a team to go out on the road. I wouldn't be shocked if I'm interested in sprinkling on Vancouver. But I'll tell you what, I think that this game might go under the total. And no Quinn Hughes potentially, some defensive guys out as well for Vancouver. But this is where you rally together. This is where you say, okay, we didn't look good in the last one. We didn't look good against the Jets. The schedule makers gave us a tough couple schedules, couple games here. But we're better than this. And I think for this Vancouver Canucks team, it starts with the defense. With Vancouver. So as much as we might not think of Vancouver as a defensive juggernaut, I think Carolina is. And I think that's going to be a very tight game that means a hell of a lot to both of these teams. So under 6.5 is kind of the look in this one. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a spot just to absolutely crush Carolina here. I wouldn't think this is a spot here. This to me is a be careful one. Freaky Friday, getaway day. Just saying, be careful. Be careful. Because in the NHL, let's pull it up here. Coming up on Saturday. Let's see what we have here for some of these teams. So we have the Oilers visiting the Hurricanes. Second half of back-to-back for the Hurricanes will be against the Edmonton Oilers. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks, they don't play again until Sunday. So even though the Oilers aren't looking great right now, guys, you got to think this is going to be a Hurricanes team that cares probably a little bit more against their matchup the next day, Saturday night, against the Oilers than they will probably care about their matchup Friday night against the Vancouver Canucks. Little sprinkle on the money line, maybe a team total over for the Vancouver Canucks, something like that. First period for the Vancouver Canucks. I think this Canucks team will be live in that one. So we'll see what ends up happening, but I think we're going to get a really, really good effort out of that one. Timothy says, I'm on Jets. Let's go Winnipeg. Best of luck to you on that one, man. What's the score in that game? What do you have? 0-0 scoreless still. I'll tell you what, that game might be a dead nut under. That game might be a big time under. IceX says, I don't know if Hyman returns on Saturday. I don't know what'll happen. Look, they need scoring depth. So if he returns on Saturday, I think it's going to be very competitive, but I do think still that if there's a spot that maybe Carolina could be flat, it could be in that game on Friday. Philadelphia and St. Louis here, guys. This Blues team continues to amaze me. When I look at their expected goals and a lot of their stats here, they're just still not pulling it together. They're still not pulling it together here, guys. Flat against the Blue Jackets, score 2 goals. Not great against the Oilers, score 3 goals. 6-1 loss against the Caps. 3-0 win against Buffalo, but it's Buffalo. 4-3 loss against the Kraken and 3-2 win over the Flames. This is not a team that impresses me by any means whatsoever. It's just not. They've got too many guys that just are not living up to expectations whatsoever. Not living up to expectations whatsoever. That's when I look at this team, they're just simply not. They've got too many guys that aren't able to live up to expectations. And I got to say, when I look at Philadelphia right now, and when I look at their expected goals against, this is a team that has the 3rd best expected goals against 5-on-5 on the entire regular season. 3rd best expected goals against. Florida, Vegas, Philadelphia, Ottawa, Calgary. Nobody would have thought that. But this Philadelphia is pretty good defensively right now. Timothy says, Flyers got no offense. I'm still pissed about Tippett last night. What a dude. Yeah. They should have won that game. You're right. They should have won that game. I think they deserved it. But you guys know where I'm going. I kind of like the under in this game here. Philadelphia, St. Louis, it's a 5.5. I think it's 5.5 for a reason. Give me the under here. Partially do lean towards the dog, but I prefer the under. IceX says the Blues smoked the Flyers, so that kind of worries me a bit. I respect the opinion, so I'll stick with the under opinion, but I like the way this Philadelphia team is playing. I like how they're playing defensively right now. We'll see if they can lock it down, but as Timothy says, Philadelphia smothers teams. They make it very difficult to play against. They are a very good defensive team. So Steve says, I still believe Van ODR is worth a look. Always, I'm playing them as a huge road dogs, but not always on the road. Yeah, exactly. And the road home splits for Vancouver has been really interesting to look at. So we'll see. But guys, when you look at this St. Louis Blues team, honestly, they haven't played since Tuesday, whatever. But ultimately, again, they're just not impressing me offensively. They're just not. And whether it's been against the Capitals or whether it's been against the Buffalo Sabres, whether it's been against the Blue Jackets, this team is not impressing me offensively. That's why I think it's worth a sprinkle on Philadelphia. I think it's worth a look potentially at the under. I'll look more at it. But Timothy says they give up a lot of goals. Yeah, but they have played in some tight games overall. But the Capitals did smoke them 6-1. So you've got that game. And then I'll tell you what, guys, New York Islanders and Utah Mammoth here. Islanders playing, this is one of those spots where a lot of times you either, what would you guys rather have? Vegas front half of a back-to-back or Vegas second half of a back-to-back? Right? And obviously, if the Islanders had a choice, they would probably pick to have Vegas in the front half of the back-to-back when they have fresh legs, when they aren't, tired. They're not fatigued. They're not playing in that second half. They're not lacking sleep. But you've got a Utah team that's super dangerous here. And I said it at the start of the season, this team has a shockingly good home ice advantage, this Utah Mammoth team. I don't know what it is. Delta Center, I believe it's called. They play better there. They play much better there. And we saw it last night. They got their act together. They started off kind of rough, and they ended up putting up a 5 spot on the Buffalo Sabres. And I know it's the Buffalo Sabres here, guys, but this to me is probably a spot that you're going to want to be on the Utah Mammoth. And I think that this might be one of those rare spots where I do jump on the first period minus a half goal, plus 115. I'm hoping for a dragged out, tiresome, back and forth game. And I think Utah has the edge in the first period here. Let's not forget. Let's go over it here, guys. And I got to get better at sharing my screen with you guys. But before that win against the Sabres, the Mammoth had lost to the Senators. They had lost to the Canadiens. They lost to the Maple Leafs. They lost to the Lightning. The only wins that this Mammoth team has in their last 6 games are both against the Buffalo Sabres. Both against the Buffalo Sabres. And I know it. You guys all know it that are watching. The Utah Mammoth hockey players know it. We know that that's not good enough being able to beat the Buffalo Sabres. You got to be able to beat other teams. So if you get to sit at home, you get to rest up. You got the Islanders that are going to be in a full-on war tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights. Then they go over to Salt Lake City, take on the Mammoth in Utah. I think it's a pretty good spot to lock them in. So Timothy says, I had Utah and Reg as my main play last night. Good call. Good call there. I had the first period over, so that one was kind of tough. But I liked Utah as well. I'm not going to pass up on Utah tomorrow night, though. They will be a play for me in some way, shape, or form. That's for sure. Some teams fold and give up, but they came back like you said. Yeah, exactly. Islanders and Mammoth are evenly matched, even on back-to-back. Minus 200 is too much. I guess it really just depends on how much you value the Mammoth being back at home, because they did not look it on the road, but so far at home, they've been a much better team this season. That's for sure. So Timothy says Utah have been a really good first period team at home. Yeah, they have been. They've come out really strong at home in the first 20 minutes. So hopefully that's the case in that one. So I'm going to write these two out here, guys. We're going to write these two out here. We'll go Mammoth first period minus 0.5 plus 115. And what else are we looking at here? I think that we go ahead and take a look at the dog tomorrow. We'll go best price available we can find. Mammoth first period. Here, let's get this on the screen. Let's get this on the screen here. Mammoth first period minus a half goal plus 115, and Preds money line plus 105. Guys, if you bet both of these, we go 1-1. We make a little bit of money. We want to go 2-0 though. I think the Predators get the job done. I think this Predators team, they're 1-8. What better thing to be able to do than get off on the road, go on a little bit of a road trip? Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, I don't even know if they wanted to go on this road trip with how they've been playing. It's probably better for them to have stayed in North America and keep on playing despite hitting a few bumps in the road. So let's hope the Mammoth can have a good one tomorrow night. And let's hope the Predators can start us off on a winning note. Guys, we've got hockey starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, Friday afternoon. 2 p.m. Eastern. We've got some games in Sweden, Timothy. In Sweden. So you got to see that. Steve says their home form, Utah, is still something. Going to Utah will affect some teams in some spots. Yeah, 100%. So they better do that tomorrow. I'm going to roll with Utah minus the first period. That's it, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow. I might go live, whether it's on Twitter or on TikTok. I might be going live for the Nashville and Pittsburgh game, at least maybe for the start of that game. So, guys, hope you can make some money tomorrow in the NHL. Hope it's a winning slate. And I got a guest with me tomorrow. We're going to go over every single game on the board in Saturday. Every single game. So, guys, if you're watching this, if you've been enjoying the pre-scout, hit the like button on YouTube. Comment below. All of you guys that are showing love means the world to me. And make sure you're subscribed to WagerTalk TV as we post a ton of content across all kinds of sports. College football, NFL, whatever it is. But tomorrow is a sneaky good slate, guys. 4 games in the NHL. Make some money before the big slate on Saturday. I think we can do it. So thanks so much for you guys watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching afterwards. every one of the comments that you guys see, I read it, and it really means the world to me. So wishing you guys the best of luck with all your wagers, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night.